We're covering a neuronal impulse and how we move the information down a neuron. In a previous video, we talked about the 4 different types of neurons: anaxonal, a pseudo-unipolar or a unipolar. We talked about a bipolar, and now we're looking at a multipolar neuron. And we're discussing that depolarization, or the action potential of a neuron. All neuron types do this. It's just easier to show this schematically when we look at a multipolar neuron. Remember, the function of a multipolar neuron is to have a motor function. It's multipolar because there's multiple extensions coming off the actual cell body. In a previous video, we looked at the different types, and I try to simplify this from an anatomical perspective. In physiology, you cover more of the membrane channels and how we have voltage changes across the cell membrane. And that's what depolarization is. So when we look at this, I'm doing it more from an anatomy standpoint, and I try to simplify it. I've been teaching anatomy for almost 24 years now, and I think it's best to try to simplify it based on the anatomical structures. I also have a study guide for this that you can use as well if it helps you. But let's start by looking at just the process. On the actual cell body, we learned that we have these extensions coming off of it called dendrites. And it says these dendrites are stimulated. Well, how are they actually stimulated? In most cases, these dendrites may have open channels, or they have to open when they're stimulated by way of neurotransmitters. So you have a chemical binding to these dendrites, and that's how they get stimulated. And so what we call that, they're at a resting potential, that they have a certain millivolts, and typically it's at negative 70 millivolts. And how does this membrane change when the chemicals are introduced? In physiology, you'll talk about that they have a lot of sodium channels or sodium ions on the outside of the cell membrane. In the inside, you have a lot of potassium. So you have Na and K. And so that difference at a resting potential is about 70 millivolts. When you have that depolarization, you're changing from a positive to a negative charge, or negative to positive, depending on how you look at it. A resting neuron is going to be negatively charged inside. And when we introduce something like a neurotransmitter, the calcium rushes in and changes it to a positive charge. And that positive change inside the neuron is what we call depolarization, which is the key component of an action potential or a neuronal impulse. So we're talking about how do you get that flow of information that occurs throughout the neuron. So we stimulate these dendrites, and then we start to put it together in the cell body. And to me, it's just like electricity. No matter how many times you turn on a switch at your house, that electricity is going to stay the same. However, I can flip that switch up and down a lot and increase the frequencies, and then I can also increase the stimulus. So you think about, like, you have some bulbs where you can dim the bulbs, or you can increase the strength of the light, but it's the same electricity that's coming through. So depending on the rate of the stimulus, meaning the amount of neurotransmitters or the receptors that are receiving this on the dendrites, we increase that flow. And when we say the flow of the sodium ions entering into the neuron, so they're entering in throughout the dendrites through the cell body. And what it starts to put it together is at the axon hillock. We have to get to a point where we exceed roughly at negative 55 millivolts. So we go from negative 70, we're going higher to negative 55. We have to hit a point to where we're going to move information, meaning the action potential, along the neuron. And how do we do that? We use the axon to do that. So we summate it, or we put it all together at the first part of the axon called the axon hillock. If there's enough of a stimulus, then we continue down the axon. As we move down the membrane of the axon, we have calcium that's running in the different segments. And remember, we said that it goes through what's called saltatory conduction, that it jumps from one node to the next, and that's in between my myelin sheaths. The myelin sheaths give it that lipid appearance, or the white matter. And so what happens is I jump from one section of the myelin to the next as I move along the axon. This increases the rate in which I can move information. If you remember on a previous video where we talked about, if I had to get from one wall to the next of a room, I can do it faster if I jump and leap to the wall rather than try to run across. Anatomically, I can't do that, but you get the idea that I can go quickly by jumping, and that's saltatory conduction. As I'm moving down the axon, that sodium is rushing in and creating that positive charge as it moves down. And it continues to sweep down the axon until we get finally to the synaptic bulbs or the terminals. There's different names for the ends of the neurons. And then we continue with that exponential and push it to either the effector, a muscle or gland, or maybe to another neuron. And then we stimulate the next one moving forward. When we talk about the sliding filament theory for muscles, we're using acetylcholine as that neurotransmitter to then release into the muscle cells. And how we actually doing that is changing the membrane of the actual neuron as we go through. Once we go through repolarization, then you have the opposite. As it's going down, then you have potassium coming back in and the calcium going back out. So you go back to a negatively charged inside the neuron. So it's trying to balance each other out, especially when you get that stimulus, but you go from a negative to a positive charge. So in review, we stimulate the dendrites, we accumulate that stimulation in the cell body or the soma, and we change the stimulus from the sodium coming in and accumulating at the axon hillock. We get that spike in the millivolts, and then it runs down the axon, continues till we get to the end of the synaptic bulbs or terminals, and then we release that neurotransmitter to the next either neuron or the effector to where you get that stimulus. The more I increase the frequency, the more it's going to continue to occur or at a higher response. This is a neuronal impulse talking about the action potential, specifically looking at a multipolar neuron.